I just want to give a quick welcome to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Veronica Accardo with the Boston Club, and I want to say thank you so much to Anna Litvak-Henenzon, who has graciously agreed to offer this series to our members and to the public because AI is a very important topic. It's just going to become more and more a part of our lives, and we want to make sure you all understand the background, the history, how you can use it. So this is the first in a three-part series. Demystifying AI Fundamentals is how we'll start. The second one in the series is going to be January 15th, and that is going to be really a practical look at the tools that you can use in your personal professional life. And the third one will be February 12th, and that is about mitigating AI risk and just strategies so that you feel safe using AI. So be sure to register for those other events as well. But we're really pleased to have Anna here with us today. She is a doctor. She holds a PhD in applied mathematics and nonlinear dynamical systems. She is the chief product strategist for Alltech AI, excuse me. She's an author, she's a speaker, she's an educator. She's going to be moderating our community salute on May 12th, AI for Social Good. Registration for that will open up next year, so be on the lookout for that. And with that, I will turn it over to Anna to begin today's session.
Hi, thank you, Veronica, for this kind introduction. Hi everybody. I'm Anna. I'm one of these geeks that's been in the AI space for 20 years, way before the current hype. Um, I did my master's in computer vision and PhD in applied math, and then I spent over 18 years developing AI-powered products, solutions, applications, mainly in SaaS enterprise across various industries. And currently, I am the Chief AI Strategist and founder of Alltech AI, where we provide AI training, AI audit, and AI strategy. So why do we want to talk about AI? AI been strong in the last 20 years, and the opportunities are arising. We are in a pivotal point in time where AI is going to change how we live and how we work. And I want to share with you some mind-blowing examples. So literally mind-blowing. So there are a lot of opportunities recently, especially with generative AI and natural language and text to speech and text to video, um, to really help in medicine and healthcare and change and improve life of patients and people in ways that we couldn't never before with any of the technologies we have. So including ability of AI to read brain waves and translate them to either written text or voice or even vision, and helping people with vision impairment or that have hearing, who are hearing impaired or speech impaired, to communicate with their surroundings in new ways. Recently, there was this very inspiring partnership between the nonprofit Be My Eyes that been operated for a while and having volunteers that would help people who are vision impaired to see through the volunteer what's going on in their environment and help them out in daily tasks, and the Meta glasses. So today, thanks to this partnership and the capabilities of both AI and human volunteers and the collaboration between the two, people who are blind or vision impaired could wear the Meta glasses and use AI to describe in real time what they're seeing in the supermarket or around them and help them make decisions. And if that is not enough, they can call a human volunteer in real time that would see what they're seeing through the Meta glasses and help them manage their daily environment. And despite the incredibly inspiring opportunities with AI, in medicine and healthcare, we also have mind-blowing examples in any and every other industry. So, for example, in October, an AI art that was painted by the AI humanoid robot Ida and was sold at Sotheby's for over $1 million. And this AI art is a portrait of no other than the AI grandfather, Alan Turing. Microsoft invested this spring over $1.7 billion in upskilling over 2.5 million people in Indonesia to be able to work in technology and AI. So not only provide an opportunity in this region for new types of skills and work opportunities, it also training them in their own language with the help of AI based on what they want to do and based on their level of skills. We keep hearing about more and more investment in AI hardware and developing robots, including humanoid robots, that going to help us in the house and do common house chores, such as washing the dishes, doing the laundry, and even babysitting our kids. And a lot of AI robotic hardware is going towards manufacturing and warehousing, but also Tesla and other companies across the US, and currently a startup in Poland that was very successful, plan to sell those robots at any ranging between $30,000 to $80,000 to help with various tasks of chores. And I want to, as last but not least, mention a very simple example that blew my mind this year, Google's Notebook LM. Google's Notebook LM is a free tool that everybody can use. And Google even promises to protect our data when we use it. And you can upload there any PDF or video or book or picture, and then learn using this tool by asking it questions about the content and helping you quickly learn in an interactive way the content. In addition, it can generate a video or even an interactive podcast of a conversation between two people to help you understand better the content that you uploaded from the materials uploaded in a more fun and interactive way. For example, you can upload your PhD thesis that might be a little bit dry and scientific and bring it to life and extremely interesting in a 10 minutes conversational podcast. Highly encourage you to try it. And why else should we care? Well, the prediction says that AI is going to change our economy, predicting it to contribute almost $16 trillion by the end of the decade, with about 4.5 trillion per year. And just to set up the scale, the federal budget this year was less than $7 trillion. So AI is here to stay. It is going to change how we live and work. So we should think how we can adapt and learn and understand this. And because we are at a pivotal point in time where the AI revolution is going to be as significant as we saw with the industrial revolution or the personal computer revolution or the internet revolution. And while each of those revolutions, or even the radio back in the day, brought all kind of concerns, and we should think about concerns and how to mitigate those concerns, we also should think how we can learn and adapt and use it in everyday life and to enhance our work and productivity. So let's take a step back and talk for a second about what is AI. So AI, or artificial intelligence, AI is a short for artificial intelligence, is an umbrella term for any type of activity that of developing machines that mimic human reasoning. Artificial intelligence could be any type of, even heuristic, or any type of developing machines that learn like humans, reason like humans, generate patterns like humans, and ultimately even perform autonomous tasks like humans. And while in the general term of artificial intelligence, we could also use types of heuristics or expert systems. Recently, when we talk about AI, we mainly mean machine learning. And machine learning is a large type of models. Can you please mute yourself? So machine learning is a large variety of types of models. Machine learning can include statistical models, simple linear models such as linear regression or logistic regression, and it can include more complex black box models such as tree models, black forest models, and part of machine learning that was kind of rapidly developing in the last since 2010s is what is called deep learning. Deep learning is deep artificial neural networks. Artificial neural networks try to mimic the way the human brain learns, retains information, generates patterns, and generates inferences and deductions. Generative AI is a relatively new term in AI and machine learning, but it also has been around over 10 years. And generative AI is type of AI that generates text, pictures, videos, code, etc. And it usually generative AI models are deep learning models that are trained with vast amounts of data. In particular, large language models are called large language models because they are models that based on deep learning AI and trained with vast amounts of data in comparison to, say, small language models that are trained with less amounts of data. In addition, large language models have a lot of parameters, such as 7 billion parameters or more. And large language models are part of the general field of natural language processing that's been rising strongly in the last 10 years, or even more since 2010s. And GPT, which is generative pre-trained transformer, is a type of a large language model and is a deep learning trained model, right, that generates text and additional capabilities. So kind of if we think about those deep learning models that power ChatGPT, for example, and other large language models such as Gemini and Claude, etc. So those deep learning AI models are trained on large amounts of data. And sometimes it's also called supervised learning because we train them on data that we know something about. And after showing them a lot of examples, we're training them by examples. We're showing them more and more examples. And then we expect them to see something, a data point the model haven't seen before, and still be able to make decisions about this new data point based on the learning we provided. So, for example, we can train a model to identify whether something is a cat or not a cat by showing it a lot of pictures of cats and then asking, is this a cat? So, what do you think? You can shout or write in the chat, is this a cat? Not everybody at once. Yes, okay. Some people starting to write in the chat, yes, this is a cat. Great, you are right. Well, is this a cat? And whoever said that it's a picture of a cat, also right. So what about this one? What about this one? Is this a cat? Well, it depends on the context. If we're trying to classify felines, yes, it's a large cat. But if I'm trying to build an app, yes, it's a very large cat. You're right. So if I'm trying to build an app to help people adopt pets, then maybe it's not the right type of cat. So we need to make sure that when we trained our model, we give enough variety and diversity of examples that also kind of bring the context of which type of model for which type of use we're trying to build. So similarly to any other deep learning model, generative AI is inferencing or predicting the next token. And in case of generative AI text models, such as large language models, the models essentially predicts the next word in the sentence. This is a simplified description, what I'm saying here now, but this is essentially what it does. It predicts, it is trained on large amount of data points, which is large amount of text, so large amount of sentences, and based on that training, it predicts the next word after the words after the previous word. So, for example, if I'll do a prompt of most people like to eat cake, my LLM would predict that the next words could be for dessert, but it also could be with coffee, or it also could be with tea, because the model is trained on large amount of text in which a few different words might make sense, right? Then each time we give a prompt, the result might look a little different and still be logical and making sense. And I can customize my prompt. For example, if I would add the word with, right? I only want to know what most people like to eat coffee with. Then I would narrow the variety of responses I might get. So again, I need to give it context. I need to give it the right amount of training and variety of data. And the more custom I would make my prompt and more specific to the use case or application, the more relevant the result would be. So let's take a step back and talk a little bit about the history of AI. So who here thinks, oh, I have a question in the chat, I see. Does predictive texting on our phones learn from the words we text, or is it more general than that? That's an excellent question, Veronica. So um, first of all the foundational models that we use, such as ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or others, are pre-trained on really large amount of data. Then when we use a tool such as ChatGPT, right, if you use it in the paid version and you turn on memory, you have to actively opt in, then it learns from your conversations with the chat and from your style and from the responses you like, and keep enhancing its results based on that. Similarly, on the phone, it depends on the phone. So if you use one of the recent phones, such as the iPhone 16s on Apple, you can opt in for Apple Intelligence and allow it to use certain applications. You can allow it just to use your email or use text and the more you allow it to use of what you are doing in sense of text, emails, browsing, etc., the AI learns from continuously from what you do and provides better capabilities going forward. Any other questions thus far? Great. So, and by the way, please don't hesitate to unmute yourself and ask a question if you want to. And also don't hesitate to put questions in the chat, and I will try to answer them as we go. And I will also allow some time for questions throughout the session. So all the current AI hype started with the generative AI, and more particularly with the release of ChatGPT by OpenAI in November 2022. But was AI invented in 2022? Please feel free to say your answer or write it in the chat. Yes, you are right. No, it was not. And yes, you're right. Absolutely not. It's older. So, um, AI is actually 70 years old. In fact, a little bit older than 70 already, kind of more like 74. Um, and it was invented in the 50s. So AI started in 1950 with Alan Turing and his seminal paper, Computing Machinery and Intelligence, when he posed the questions, can machine think? That led to the Turing test, and um, the Turing test is if there are like a human and AI having a conversation, and another human, the observer, is not seeing them; they're behind a screen, or the human is just seeing their text. Can the human actually tell who is the AI and who is the human? Or in other words, can a human differentiate AI from a human? And for many years, most of our AI systems, even though they exist since 1950 with immense development in the last 24 years, um, m- most of our AI systems, most of our machine learning system could not pass the Turing test. But recently, in the last 2 years, with the generative AI, more and more of the AI systems and application easily pass the Turing test, and more is to come. Um, but AI developed since the 50s to date with some notable moments. In the 60s and 70s and 80s, there were a lot of experimentation in developing various systems, and there was the rise of expert systems, systems that used a lot of heuristics and kind of rules to help people with various tasks such as repairs, um, and even diagnostics and gaming, such as if your character is the game is more hungry than bored, it will eat first and play later. All those were considered to be AI systems. In the 80s, we see the first arise of generative AI even before the term was coined, because Harold Cohen, who was an artist, invented Aaron. Aaron was a combination of software and hardware that Harold Cohen trained on his own paintings, and then it would generate paintings um, based on his style, new paintings. And Harold Cohen used to talk about Aaron as a collaboration between a human and machine in creativity, where he kind of enhances the creativity of the machine, and the machine enhances the artist's creativity. And he continued developing Aaron from the 80s into recent years until he sadly passed recently. Um, and it was probably the first generative AI system developed by an artist. Um, we had a lot of developments in machine learning and data and big data in the 90s. Leading to having AI actually in everyday life already in the early 2000s and since the 2000s to date, such as spell checkers, browsing, recommendations, advertisements. All of these things use AI, and we have been using them in our daily life since the 2000s. In 2010s, there was a big enhancement of AI with the rise of deep learning, and deep learning um, could start developing because we had artificial neural networks way before that, but we didn't have the computational means. And in the 2010s, there was the rise of using of GPUs, graphical processing units, that provided the computational infrastructure to develop those deep artificial neural networks that provided us with the deep learning applications that really changed and revolutionized the face of AI with new applications that we didn't see before. And some notable examples are IBM Watson wins Jeopardy in 2011, In 2013, we see synthetic data endorse first GANs, like generative adversarial networks that show us videos of AI people, etc. In 2015 and 2017, a notable example is the development by Google's DeepMind AlphaGo and AlphaZero. Those are deep learning applications that in gaming that had the system only learn the rules of very complex games such as Go or with AlphaZero chess, training themselves for like 2 days and then being able to win any other expert, either human or machine, in those games and many others. And that's what gave rise in 2021 to AlphaFold, also by Google DeepMind, that brought us a breakthrough and this understanding of protein folding. And in October 2024, Demis Hassabis co-won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for this amazing development. And in 2024, also Jeffrey Hinton co-won the Nobel Prize in Physics for pioneering and developing the deep learning AI. And as I mentioned before, it's kind of a fun fact. Actually, while the current generative AI hype started with OpenAI releasing ChatGPT in 2022, actually, transformers, again, GPT is generative pre-trained transformer, but transformers were originally invented by a group of researchers from Google in 2016 and were kind of enhanced and became widely used in the data science and technology community after the 2017 paper "Attention is All You Need" and Transformer BERT and Roberta and other models that were also available as open source. And again, since 2023, we see new developments in AI and improvements daily. And it's not just the chats such as ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude, but it's also the creative tools such as DALL-E and Midjourney. And today, OpenAI announced Sora to generate videos with AI. The O1 model that was recently released by OpenAI can reason like true scientists and philosophers, and much more. And the advancements are so rapid that we can hardly keep pace. Right, every day we can learn something new, which is both exciting and sometimes also a little bit maybe overwhelming. But instead of telling you all that, I could just, for example, call my avatar.
Artificial intelligence, or in short, AI, is around 70 years old. Some of the most significant leaps have happened in the last 2 decades. Attention is all you need paper and hugging faces bidirectional encoder representations from transformers. BERT model.
So, um, so as you could see, today I can easily, in 5 minutes, generate my own avatar that will sample my video and my voice and deliver instead of me any type of presentation or even interactive engagement with people. And we'll talk about it in a minute. I just want to make sure if somebody has questions about things that we discussed thus far, you can ask in the chat or just unmute yourself and ask. Thank you. And please don't be shy. If you have any questions, do ask them. Can anybody just say something so I make sure that I actually hear you? If anybody tries to ask a question?
And maybe I
Hello?
can ask you a question. This is Malcolm.
Wonderful. Yeah.
All right. So, in the end of 90s, I was training as a mechanical engineer and we were hearing about AI, et cetera. And, it was a far-fetched dream at that time to us, as it was computer science people were mostly working on it. And I personally feel like something has changed along the way where the artificial AI became, much more widely understood and used, if you will. Like, for example, predictive engines, became part of what is now, described as AI. Well, back in the day, they were just models, we didn't name them as AI. Was that, do you recall this switch? I mean, I feel like, within the last 2 years, everything is now, explained as, oh, this is AI, that is AI kind of thing.
So your question is when the switch happened?
No, I'm just, like curious. There's not really a direct question here. It's more of a, an observation, if you will. There was
Yeah,
a shift in understanding what AI is and should be, I think, maybe with the neural networks being, coming onto the picture.
yeah. So first of all, it wasn't like a day switch, it was creeping on us.
Hmm.
Um, and you're right, more and more AI was used in engines and decisions and everyday life. Google introduced a chief decision officer, and AI was started to be seen as a decision support mechanism and tool in the last 10 years. And there were, as I said, AI systems that we use in the last 20. So again, our spell checkers, our recommendations, our advertisements, our web browsing, our streaming. So we all been using it for quite many years now, and self-driving cars even exist in the last 8 years, I think, if not more, and various robotics applications
Yeah.
and diagnosis assist tools, decision support tools. Those all been here for quite a long time. We were just not thinking. We got used to using them without thinking about them as AI. And I think the current hype with the generative AI kind of made us think about it as AI. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of I'll for a second jump forward um in my presentation and then go back because as relevant to this question. So kind of I want there are like real life examples from my own work, right? So my team and I worked in collaboration with Alexian and Radis Children's to develop an AI diagnosis assist tool that won the Guinness record in 2018 for using AI to diagnose rare diseases in children from genome sequencing under 24 hours. And since 2018, this record was kind of even improved. And diagnosis assist tool exists in many applications of medicine in the last 10 years, and especially rising in radiology, pathology, and cancer therapies and other. But today we are more aware of that because it's more in the conversation. Um, Other real life examples include kind of both the therapeutic examples, such as using Apple Watch data to understand efficacy of medications, using AI agent game with children to diagnose and assess social behavior diseases such as autism, and then kind of assessing the efficacies of the efficacy of the medication. And in energy, IoT type of AI, Internet of Things, there's this signal processing type of AI for fixing things and for preventing malfunctions was used widely in the last 15 years or more. And this is an example of using like video deep learning AI to detect malfunction of the underwater oil pipes and repair them. That also was done 5 or 6 years ago. So kind of all this been around for a while, but now we are more aware of that. And if we ask ourselves why, right? So research told us that in the last 2 years there is a wide adoption of AI. So there was an adoption of AI of previous year of about 50%, and it was mainly in the work environment, especially in technology. And people who work in technology and in data science, we're adopting AI and using it and more aware of the use of it. And there is a huge jump in 2024 to 72% adoption of AI, with more and more adoption across functions. In particular, those functions that see success and ROI, um, such as marketing and content generation. And if we ask ourselves why, so first of all, it is because the model became better. The first GPT model was released in 2018, and the performance from that first model to the release of GPT 3.5 by OpenAI as part of ChatGPT in 2022 was huge. So the first thing is, of course, the model improved. But one of the important things of the current hype is a better UX UI. And I keep saying for excellent product adoption, you need excellent products, but you also need an excellent UX UI. And this excellent UX UI really contributed to the adoption of UI, because it was easy, interactive, and fun to use, and because it democratized AI. Now everybody could use AI in their daily life and work in a way that did not require any technological understanding. So before that, as you said yourself, you studied a technical field, and people in technology and data science were aware of AI and were using it. But people who are not in technology and data science were not using it at all, or using it much less, because there was the barrier of the technology understanding. But with this release, because it was fun, interactive, and easy to use, and you didn't have to have any technological knowledge to use it, it democratized the use of AI, understanding of AI, and slowly the awareness of the AI usage in other applications and fields. To use generative AI, you don't need any technological expertise. It's like driving a car. You just need to learn to drive the car, and you don't need to know how to build a car or how the engine operates. But because those ChatGPT and other generative AI applications are built by deep learning AI, if you want to build an AI application or implement an AI application through your enterprise, you need to have some technical understanding or have a team of data scientists that would help you out. And that's the big difference, right? So because we developed those uh, applications that are based on natural language processing, and natural language is natural to all humans, and we can interact with AI just with words and voice and pictures, then it democratized it and made it widely adoptable and very useful for everyday life and to enhance productivity at work. And that's why kind of the recent hype happened. And I'm just checking the chat for additional questions here. Um, uh, what are your thoughts about treating AI like another team member? Yes, I think that's wonderful. AI is really helpful for learning and for training, and you can always treat AI like a smart colleague or friend and brainstorm to enhance your creativity, new ideas for new products, etc. So you can definitely use AI as a friend and as a colleague to brainstorm for innovation and creativity. Um, I'm looking for additional questions here. When will you address the environmental impact of AI? I will address a little bit the ethical aspect of things, but like the third session will be solely dedicated to the ethical, environmental, regulatory aspects of AI. So today we'll mention it if we get to it, but we will have a whole session dedicated to it. Not all AI tools created equal. How do we evaluate which of the right one for our business? That's an excellent question. We'll touch about it a little bit in a second as well. So um, um, we kind of the right AI tool is based on our needs, right? So the most right AI tool is the one that is right for our needs. And that kind of brings me back to the to the flow of this session. So we have AI opportunities for any and every industry and for any and every organization. And we have those across those three main verticals: product innovation, process automation and improvement, and communication. So, and for each one of those, you might have different AI tools that are right for that particular vertical or application. And it's also based on your business goals or your organizational business goals or what you want to achieve, right? So, if I'll give you the simplest example, right? If I want to develop a diagnosis assist tool for product innovation, um, then I need to use deep learning AI and a team of data scientists to develop that. But in product, AI is also very helpful, for example, for product management, from ideation through product development, through the whole product management life cycle, and to launch. So if I want to use AI tools for product management, I will use different tools, of course, than for medicine. And the best tools for that would be chat-based AI tools where I can brainstorm and analyze vast amounts of data um, to brainstorm new product ideas and new feature ideas. I can use tools such as Figma, etc., to kind of generate mockups and prototypes. I can use, for example, Claude to generate code quickly to generate some prototype. I can use HubSpot Copilot. Sorry, and I can quickly showcase the clients and prospects my prototypes and mockups, gain feedback, analyze it with an AI tool such as even ChatGPT, and then decide which products to launch. I can also use predictive AI to predict which features will be the most successful in the market. And for each of these, I would use different types of tools. And maybe I want to use some tools for my process automation. And for that, I may use OpenAI API and tools like Make or Zapier to automate my processes, including software development, where I can also use the GitHub Copilot to develop my software, but then also using AI tools to monitor my software and for bug fixing. I can use tools for scheduling like OneHub and meeting management like Otter AI. So each one of these would require different tools, and I can use Beautiful AI, for example, for generate my presentations, or Canva, etc. So for each one of these, I would use different tools based on the specific application that I want to generate and based on the overall business goals I'm trying to achieve. And there is a lot of opportunity also for communication with chats and copilots. And while the current adoption is mainly in marketing and sales and content generation, it is predicted that the next huge success of AI will be with customer support. So just to give you some examples from the AI-powered product space. So as I mentioned, diagnosis assist tool, and diagnosis could be either in medicine or in detecting malfunctions and fixing them quickly. Recommendation engines such as for shopping, for reading, for music, for any kind of stream activities. There are a lot of creativity and productivity tools, such as DALL-E, which is very easy to use within ChatGPT or within Bing or within Copilot, or a more sophisticated tool, Midjourney, that can really help you generate a very amazing AI art. And today, OpenAI released Sora for video generation, and there are many more. But generally, any of the AI tools can be used, as I mentioned before, for brainstorming and enhancing your creativity through a dialogue, like with a very smart friend or colleague. ChatGPT is AI-powered product. ChatGPT is an application for people to use that is powered by deep learning AI. And I recommend anybody to use a tool such as ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or Meta AI or your favorite chat or Perplexity to have back and forth conversation about the things you want to learn about. You can ask ChatGPT about AI. You can ask ChatGPT about the AI history. You can ask ChatGPT about what is the best tool to generate video with AI. You can ask ChatGPT about chemistry. You can use your the O1 model, to ask deep scientific questions such as about thermodynamics or about philosophy. You can discover things about design, whether in products or in houses. So, and if you will be using ChatGPT or similar AI conversational tools daily, you will learn a lot about any subject of your interest, but you will also enhance your prompting capability by this daily use, and you will see how your prompt become more focused to get better results. And if you're using one particular tool, you usually would also improve the responses, because the tool, if you enable it, will remember your conversations and remember which responses you liked or didn't like, and learn your style, and will generate better results for you, whether it's writing, learning, emails, research, etc. Of course, we have self-driving cars, and in LA there is a very successful experiment of those self-driving cabs. And in fact, we have AI-powered products everywhere in our life today. In music, in streaming, in spelling, as I said, fraud detection in banks, how to credit assessment, HR, hiring, social media, games, medicine, and it has good implications and bad implications, right? It's all of it. It's the good stuff and the bad stuff, and we can understand the opportunity and adopt to the opportunity while being aware from the hurdles and risks, such as the environmental impact that was mentioned here in the questions. So we talked a lot about AI-powered products, and as I said, there is a lot of opportunity for processes and communication. And those are vast, right? So as we just said, there is ideation and creativity. We can, because AI can analyze vast amounts of data, we can brainstorm with AI about new ideas for products or new ideas for features. We can have our AI tool analyze vast amounts of data for market research and competitive research, for developing more client-centric products, and analyze quickly large amounts of clients and prospect feedback. We can understand better our customer needs, and we can even predict go-to-market success of certain features of products, so that we focus on those products that are really transformative and bring value to the clients, but that also kind of address our business needs and goals. We can automate any repeatable process to free people's time for the creativity and strategic tasks. And we can automate documentation, learning, training capabilities for our organization or for our personal use. Nobody likes to document software, but now with generative AI, we can very quickly document all our software and make it transparent to the organization and to the next new employee. We can automate any employee onboarding and training, and we can even automate those IT desktops, right? So you know how you used to submit an IT ticket and then wait forever for a response, and maybe it's fixed and maybe it's not. Today with generative AI, you can easily automate the whole ticketing system and have this being seamless, including AI chatbot that discuss with you in totally human form what you need and helping you out, and similar for all the HR and onboarding processes. In fact, we are, with generative AI, having a new era of client-centric customer care. So you remember all these chatbots that you used to call your bank or support system, and the chatbot would be so annoying, and you would hate it, and you would like scream at the phone that you want to speak with a human agent. Well, no more, because we're really kind of in a new era of chats and copilots and agents that look, behave, and speak like people. So as you saw, I generated an avatar of myself that sample my how I look and sound, and we can easily generate an avatar that looks differently and not real human, that is generated by AI, voice and image, and looks and behaves as human and have the human emotional and expression, sounds natural, and can have a whole conversation that sounds very reasonable. And that creates a huge opportunity for um, having those personalized coaches, tutors. So research tells us that people learn much better when they're in a small groups and the teaching is adjusted to their level. So with AI tutors and teachers, we can do that very easily. And we can have AI coaches, AI therapists, AI physicians. And today in blinded experiments, we see that often human rate the AI chat agent avatar, giving it better scores than the human one. So there is a lot of opportunity in this space to provide cheap, easy, and accessible, and even more effective coaching, tutoring, and therapy and customer care agents that people love to talk with. Let me show you an example. So you remember my previous avatar that was based on me. This one is entirely imaginary, and just look how human she looks.
Welcome to our exploration of the fascinating history of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, or in short, AI, is around 70 years old. Some of the most significant leaps have happened in the last 2 decades. Milestones like IBM Watson winning Jeopardy in 2011 and DeepMind's AlphaGo defeating a Go champion in 2015, which captured global attention, followed by AlphaZero in 2017, mastering chess and multiple other games, learning from only the rules of the game and training itself. Change the way we live and work in both predictable and unpredictable ways. So buckle up for this exciting ride. Well,
So any comments or questions thus far? Because before we go into the next section of kind of reviewing some of the common terms in AI.
There were some questions in the chat still.
Additional questions in the chat that I haven't addressed this. Okay. Okay. Let's see.
Do you want me to go back up to where I know you stopped?
No, yeah, I'm seeing that. That's okay. Will AI be able to supplement human judgment, or is this something we need to be able to control? So I think in the place we are now with AI, like the diagnosis assist tools, etc., that I mentioned, we still need the supplement between the AI and human judgment. So at this stage of things, because AI can still make mistakes. So in anything that relates to human life, I personally would prefer to have a human overseeing the AI results. So whether it's medical diagnostics, so AI can make suggestions and the human physician can make the final call. And we actually see from research that those systems that have AI suggesting the diagnosis, such as for example, for mammograms for detecting breast cancer, we see a huge increase in correct diagnosis, over 20% increase of correct diagnosis, if we have the AI tool suggesting the diagnosis and then the human physician approving it. Um, for example, in HR systems for hiring or criminal systems, anything that affect human lives, I think we still need to collaboration between the AI system and the human. But we are more and more going towards those agent systems, and those agentic systems are capable of making their own decisions, and we are going there, and hence we need to make sure we comply with ethical AI, with a lot of testing, including red teaming testing, and making sure that we develop AI that wouldn't affect human lives adversely. Because it is going into, because for the enhanced productivity, some of these systems must be autonomous and they will make mistakes. That being said, it is important to understand that humans also make mistakes. And if we look at self-driving cars versus human making accidents, it's not like the self-driving cars make more mistakes than humans. And it's not like HR systems, which are automated with AI, make more mistakes than humans, because humans are also biased. But we are less forgiving for software and AI systems than we are to human. So my personal preference is to have as much as possible combination between the AI decision makers and um, the human decision makers, so that we have as reliable as possible system. I hope it answers your question. I think it was Rita who asked it, right? Next question here was, who is going to be recognized, awarded, and rewarded for innovation, intellectual property, commercial success, etc. So this is an excellent question that will be addressed in the third session, because in the third session I will bring a guest, IP attorney, that will discuss specifically the questions of IP when using AI, intellectual property. So of course, the intellectual property is belongs to whoever created it, and there are risks, because when we're generating things with AI, the generative AI tools were trained on public data, and hence might infringe some intellectual property. So there is risk, and there is also the creativity and uniqueness question. And I'm not sure which one of those you meant, Dorothy. For example, if an AI makes a picture, and is the credit of the art is to the robot or to the artist it was trained upon? It's probably both, and I think because we're in a pivotal point in time, we're still figuring this out. And I think maybe in the future, the uniqueness of things may rise, because a lot of things will be generated by AI. But I can share my personal opinion. In my personal opinion, same way as Harold Cohen saw the art that he generated together with Aaron as a collaboration between the human and the machine, and eventually it was his art because he trained the machine on his art and he made the final decision about the art. Then it kind of was his art. And in my personal opinion, if a person making either art or text with AI, but the person is the one who providing the ideas, monitoring the AI process, interacting with the AI process, making the final decision and the final cut, it is, in my personal opinion, it could be considered as the art or generation of that person, because the person is the one who made the decision about the art, who brought the ideas, who kind of interacted with the AI to generate the final results. You can write in the chat what are your ideas about that. Veronica, do you want to tell me which other questions I have here?
Sure. There was one that says, is there any way for you to show a very basic example of using AI for product development / management? And how do you use AI to gain feedback, as you just discussed? Is this something we'll cover in the next session?
Yeah, so like the next session will be dedicated to to two things. The first part will be on how to develop AI strategy for product or for enterprise, and the second part will be dedicated to seeing examples and demos of very specific AI tools. And I actually going to ask you in a minute to write in the chat which type of AI tools you would like to see the most. Today, kind of, I already shown this slide, but this is like one example of how AI can be used for product management. So, for example, in tools like such as ChatGPT and others, you can summon an expert to help you with something, and you can summon, for example, Steve Jobs to help you ideate product ideas, and you can use DALL-E and Midjourney to generate quickly mockups. And then you can use, for example, Claude or GitHub Copilot to generate code and create prototype and have quickly collect feedback, analyze the feedback with ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, and pivot, generate new iteration and collect feedback again. And I will deep dive into all the tools that we can use for AI product management and other tools that we can use for productivity in the next session that will be dedicated to that. Any other questions?
No, Anna, but I have a comment to make, and my name is Kathy, and I just want to welcome you
Hi,
to the
Kathy.
Boston Club as a member. You are a brand new member, and there are a lot of even new members on this call, but welcome to the community. We're drinking from a fire hose at the moment, so help us through all this. It's a lot of information and great information, but thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathy, both for welcoming me so warmly to the community, and I'm looking forward to interact with this community. And I appreciate that all this might be kind of a lot of information, and we can either kind of continue with more information, or we can kind of stop and have some questions. And why don't we kind of maybe have Veronica, are you ready to run our survey?
Sure.
So why don't we take like a 2-minute break to let everybody to reset what we heard us for, and you will run the survey, and then we can look at it a little bit for a second. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great. I just launched the poll, so
Right.
we'll give it
So
a minute here.
So let's take so let's take a minute to do the poll, and we'll look at the results in a minute.
And thank you, everybody. We'll still get to the questions that you've dropped in the chat. So just before we go here. So thank you very much. So there are great questions in the chat.
There's probably 100 more questions behind them all.
I'm going to close this poll in just a second here. Okay, and
I took an opportunity to wear a sweater because it's literally freezing in here. Great.
Can you see the
Wow.
results?
I can, right? So thank you for helping with the poll, Veronica, and thank you everybody for answering the poll. So we have 36% using it daily, and we have 12% using weekly, 36% occasionally. So it's interesting the amount of people using daily and occasionally is more or less the same. And we have 16% who said never. So this is interesting. So we have a very mixed audience, and I kind of find that usually in these sessions it's a mixed audience, and some are kind of using it already daily and want the more advanced stuff, and some kind of need to adopt. And thank you for sharing that. That's kind of an amazing So just today, I read that currently about 40% of the American population say that they use AI daily, like generative AI, such as ChatGPT or Midjourney or Gemini or Meta AI daily. It's very close to what we're seeing here, 36%, right? Um, and also like in the general population, about 20% never used it, which is also kind of pretty similar. So it's nice to see those samples. And again, I believe that we are in a pivotal point in time where AI will kind of continue to affect our life and transform every industry, and it is here to stay. And eventually, we will all adapt to it. And there are easy ways to adapt, such as, again, make a daily habit. I do recommend using it daily just to get used to it, the same way how we got used to using Google for every search we used to do. And now you can use those AI tools that provide very interesting summaries, such as Perplexity or ChatGPT or Meta AI within your WhatsApp. Like you can just have a conversation like with a friend and ask, "Oh, which restaurant should I go to today?" And just by using it daily with one question, you will get so used to it, you won't know how you could live before that. Veronica, do you mind sharing additional questions that I maybe help answer?
Sure, there's a few more. So with all this information available, is there an opportunity to monetize this data?
So that's a interesting question about data. So there are a lot of opportunities to monetize data, right? Um, which are so for one example is to AI models are heavily dependent on data, and um, and they're dependent on good data. So data will become more and more valuable, especially proprietary data. So and that kind of an opportunity here to jump to um, to another slide here. So I mentioned here a few terms, right? And I know some people feeling that they're drinking from a hose, and so I'll try to be kind of I lightly tread here. So, for example, we can generate custom GPTs, and custom GPTs are kind of having the chat being very specific to the stuff I specifically want to understand based on custom instructions or my custom style, etc. And I won't go into details more about that maybe next time, but I want to mention here, and this is something that is often used, but is called retrieval augmentation generation, or RAG. And that's kind of relates to the question that I've been asked here about how to monetize data. So research shows us that if we use domain specific proprietary data, we enhance the accuracy of the AI results by over 15%, which is very, very important. So, for example, if we have um, applications which is financial, then using proprietary financial data related to your customers or to your bank, and using retrieval augmentation generation with your proprietary data on top of the large language model. It is not training, you're just using your proprietary data to generate the answers. You already can increase your accuracy of the result by almost 20%. And this is amazing, and you don't need data science knowledge. It's not training. You don't need heavy computational resources, and you can use that with just kind of using, for example, the OpenAI API. And I think more and more institutions will monitor their data for either internal use, because they will be able to develop unique AI applications based on their proprietary data, right? Or they can sell this, or there will be organizations that will sell proprietary data that won't be publicly available for either using RAG, retrieval augmentation generation, or even fine tuning of large language models to address specific industries such as healthcare or finance or a specific use case such as real estate. And that way, people will monetize proprietary data in a very effective way, in my opinion. And I think it's already happening, and a lot of providers sell data for AI model training. For example, in my last company at RepTrack, we used to buy data from various data providers, such as survey providers, um, um, providers of reviews data, providers of transaction data, etc. So that's how companies today, for that, some examples of how data can be monetized. And as I already mentioned, fine tuning. So kind of fine tuning is about taking a model that was already pre-trained on some data and then training a layer of it with proprietary data, that making it much more accurate to the specific use case. And that also allows company to generate proprietary small language model or large language models, LLMs, that are fine-tuned on their domain expertise. And it's highly kind of usable in, say, financial industry, where models are fine-tuned on financial data to generate kind of investment portfolio advices. More questions from the chat, Veronica?
Yeah, so Anne, I just want to ask, because we have about 15-ish minutes left. So do you have more
Yeah,
of your presentation that you want to get through and then we can do questions? Or do you want to take
we
it to
can do that. I kind of I wanted to kind of mix and match between how much I want to cover and questions, because I do want to allow people to ask questions. So I can go through a few more slides, and then we can just kind of stay with the questions. Um, and like, one of the things I do definitely want to mention is AI agents. We are going towards more and more of this kind of AI agent systems. AI agents are AI systems that perceive its environment through sensors, process information, learn from experience, and they can easily adapt to their environment and what's going on. They take actions to achieve specific goals they've been given. They can be proactive to achieve their goals and objectives, and they operate autonomously, making decisions, and can kind of change their decisions or behavior based on their objectives. And they also have social capabilities. They can interact with other agents, they can interact with other applications, and they can interact with humans. And this is very exciting, and there are a lot of opportunity with agentic systems, such as, for example, in finance, we hear more about robo-advisors. So financial advisors that are agents that help to generate your financial portfolio. We hear more and more about agents that are tutors, such as in Khan Academy. We hear more and more about AI coaches, etc. And other releases, such as AI agents that can control your computer and do simple tasks for you, such as sort your email or send your marketing campaigns, etc. And we will have more and more of that. And of course, that's one of the reasons that we need to be also aware of the risks and the hurdles in AI, because there is a lot of opportunity, but with big opportunity comes big responsibility. And I want to kind of mention a few of those. So we have hurdles in AI along three verticals. There are technology issues that we need to be able to address. There are organizational issues, and we hear that 80% or more of AI initiatives still fail. And we have people issues like adoption and worry issues. And those three are very crucial to have successful implementations of AI. So just to mention a few aspects of the technology issues, as we just said, good AI models depend on good data. So you have to have enough data, a lot of data, quality data, and you need to be able to govern your data and make sure that you have unbiased data. And then when you manage to develop a model, you need to make sure that your model is accurate enough, that you have the right output quality. And you need to monitor your model, because in AI, and it's very important to remember, each model you develop is good now, but it's not staying good because the data in our world change. So you have to monitor, because there is always a drift in accuracy. So AI models need to be continuously retrained. It'll continuously train, such as like with generative AI, that the model is continuously trained on your interaction with the model. Or if the model is static, you need to retrain it periodically to enhance the accuracy and prevent drift. And like now, it's true more than ever, garbage in, garbage out. So you have to make sure that you use the right data, unbiased data, large amounts of data, data that is not siloed for your AI model training. Cybersecurity risks are known, and kind of your system can be hacked, and you should make sure that you can maintain data privacy and data governance and protect your data, because it's very important today, and regulations are important, especially in the regulated industries such as healthcare and finance, where privacy of data is very important and other regulations need to be complied. And even if you're not in a regulated industry, your clients might be. So regulation, ethical, and legal concerns are very important, and we'll talk about them in detail in the third session in February. Infrastructure, you have to have the right infrastructure, and you need to be able to integrate your AI systems within your legacy systems that you all often have. So all of these are things to think about, and there are specific risks of AI. Even if your data is not biased, your AI model may be biased, because a lot of generative AI models are trained on public data. They have our public biases. And even if we try to use human engineer to unbias the models, we then have new problems, such as the model can then say incorrect history, right? Because of overworking on unbiasing, right? Such as Gemini was telling people that the founding fathers had some mothers, and people from all kinds of races, or saying that the Holocaust never happened, for example. So we want to make sure that the way we unbias our models and treat hallucinations is also ethical and safe, and not changing history. We don't want to change history. And as we remember with the cat example, we need to give context to the AI application that we built, because otherwise we might have AI itself is a software. It doesn't have context. It doesn't know if 2010 happened before 2020 or after. So we have to provide the context that is relevant to our domain, to our business use case, and to our vertical, and to the application we're trying to develop. Yeah.
Sorry, I just have a related question here. Bev
Yes.
asked, how do you detect hallucinations or fact check the information that's provided?
That's a great question. So there is the simple answer, like how I, as a person at home, fact check the responses from my AI system. So the way I do it, that I AI compare between the various responses I get from the AI. And I might kind of compare results from ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity. Two, I can use the new ChatGPT allows you to see all the resources for the answers, and I can check the resources and see how the AI was thinking. And today, more and more common, and all of these tools provide you the links showing you Microsoft Copilot, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, and Claude. They're all showing you where they got the results, and you can check the actual link and see whether it's reliable. And I think with time, you will need less and less of that. And finally, for work environments, for business environments, we can buy today tools that were developed, or develop in-house tools that use AI to check the AI and make sure that we generate, like we used to in software development, generate automated QA processes that QA the AI for correctness of results. And those are kind of, you can either develop them in-house or use the open source to develop them, or buy a out-of-the-shelf tool and integrate them within your system to have those kind of addressed. And of course, one of the biggest issues is inappropriate use. And inappropriate use if AI is done by people. And of course, we always should do red teaming testing and other type of testing to make sure that we avoid those. The processes that kind of 80% of AI initiatives fail, which is more than double than any other technology project. And a lot of it is because of the difficulty to develop AI strategy that relates to the overall business objectives and to articulate the business value of each AI development and how it relates to the ROI, return on investment, we're going to get from this investment. And again, in the next session, we're going to speak in more details about how to develop an effective AI strategy and build an effective AI roadmap for successful implementation of AI. And the last but not least is the people objection to AI, people lacking trust in AI, people worried about the risk, people worried about job loss. And then there is the opposite effect of executives overestimating AI and saying, oh, let's replace half of our workforce with AI, or let's have AI tomorrow. And that is, of course, impossible because AI is very complex to implement. And a lot of the answers to these objections and lack of trust and risk or overestimation of AI capability lies in AI literacy, understanding exactly which AI we're building, why, how we are using it, full transparency about it, and full understanding of the ROI of each AI initiative that we are developing. And a lot of it can be helped with AI proficient leadership and education and training on AI, what we are doing here today, and building those ethical and safe AI applications through testing, training, and continuous knowledge acquisition. Is there any more questions I can answer?
There are some more questions in the chat. Kim asked, how do individuals and corporations protect their current IP as they use AI tools? And also, how will we hold people and companies accountable to state whether content was created with AI?
That's an excellent question, Kim. So first of all, when you use enterprise software for AI across your organization, it protects your proprietary data. So make sure that you use those paid and licensed enterprise software in your organization to make sure you're protecting your company's IP, code, information, etc. It's critical. In addition, certain platforms such as Azure provide you with the security needed to develop client applications that comply with most current regulations available. And you don't need to develop them in-house if you use, for example, Azure or other cloud providers that make sure that your data privacy, IP, and internal proprietary information stays safe. In addition to that, you need to kind of implement some data governance and security that will help to protect your organizations against various hacks or cyber attacks. And I think those things will kind of make sure that whatever you developing is protected. And in the sense of how do you know if something was using AI or not, today more and more applications actually require that you state whether AI was used in the generation of something or not. And I think with time, we will have more and more of those signatures generated by human, generated by AI, generated by human with the help of AI, etc. And just kind of there are simple tools that you can use on your own. So for example, in Grammarly, you can pass any text and ask whether it was generated by AI. It's not very accurate, but it can give you some sense. Any other questions?
Yes, there's a few more. So how will AI impact innovation? That's a big question.
Yeah, so AI is impacting innovation already. It's both through the human AI collaboration on innovation and generating those new ideas, but also the new capabilities bring the ideas of innovation. So the examples I showed of kind of helping people who are vision impaired or speech impaired are available today, thanks to generative AI that were not able before, and that's a kind of innovation, right? So with literacy and making sure that you training all of your stakeholders on AI literacy, you can help to bridge the gap and make sure that the garbage in, garbage out does not affect your AI innovation and use of AI throughout your organization implementation of AI applications. And if you ask yourself kind of where to start, so my advice is start with AI audit. AI audit is part of what Altec AI provides, but like you can do it yourself. AI audit is meaning get prepared. Check your data, check your technology capabilities, check your needs for AI, check your talent, whether you have the right talent, etc., to make sure that that you are ready, and if not, to understand the gaps and how you can bridge those gaps to build AI applications and clearly develop AI strategy and AI roadmap that aligns closely with your company's business goals, articulating the value and ROI and ROI of the AI developments to the business, to the stakeholders, to the clients internally, and craft a phase implementation roadmap. And also, it's very important to ensure that we develop ethical and safe AI with a lot of experimentation and testing. And we will talk about these things more in the next two sessions. So we will talk in the next session of how to develop AI strategy and phase implementation roadmap. And we will talk about specific tools that can help us with each one of these components and have live demo of the tools. And while and I will also share after this session a link to tools that you can use between the sessions and for learning and for exploration of AI. I want to mention in particular the Superhuman AI, which is a newsletter that is daily and daily lists new AI tools and AI news. And every day it has a small tutoring experiment that you can learn how to do something with an AI tool. If you do it daily, after a few days, you will be an expert. And there are a lot of courses and other kind of capabilities that I will share with you to as a learning, and we will address some of these tools in details and demos next time. So while I'm saying thank you here, and I'm ready to stay a few more minutes for questions if people want to, I would ask that you put in the chat if there are specific tools you would really want me to cover as a demo in the next session. I will save the chat, so please just kind of indicate all the possible tools you would like us to cover in the next session.
And also, we'll save the chat so we can ask some of these questions that are still. Dina and Terry have some good questions, which I think we'll cover in the next two sessions. So we'll save that to make sure that we do.
Yes, we will save the chat and both address all the questions and all the tools. So if you can put some of the tools you would like me to cover in the next session, please do. And if people want to stay one more minute, I can cover one more question if there is any.
This is really interesting. Thank you so much, Anna. I appreciate you taking the time. I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope that you kind of got some insights from what I shared. And because this session was, I know it was a lot, but this session was recorded, so feel free then rewatch the recording and kind of look at specific items in more detail. And if you have, I shared my LinkedIn and email there, and happy to connect with you all. And if you have any questions, on our next session is January 15, if I'm not mistaken, right, Veronica? When we will cover in more detail the how to develop a AI strategy and a roadmap and do demos of specific AI tools and answer the questions that arose today in the chat in more detail. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ping me on LinkedIn or email or through the Boston Club. And I'm happy to engage with you and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.